Hey, welcome back fellow creators. In today's video, I wanted to share my insights as to why TikTok videos get stuck at 0 views. Whether you're just creating a brand new account or you've already been established on the platform, you post a video, you've been there before, hours later, it's not taking off. What do you do? Why does this happen? This has been a common situation I've been observing, and more recently it's been happening for a reason that we'll get into in this video. But I want to share a few recommendations that could potentially solve this issue that we haven't yet covered on this channel. So if you find this video helpful, consider dropping a like down below in support of the YouTube algorithm. I do put anywhere between 8 to 10 hours into researching, editing each one of these videos that you're watching, so any support would be greatly appreciated. Thanks guys, and without further ado, let's talk TikTok. So I think I will break down this video. We'll first talk about why videos are often stagnant at 0 views. Secondly, how long this lasts on average. And finally, we'll conclude with some practical action steps that you can implement to hopefully resolve this issue if it's something you're dealing with. So at its most basic level, there are 6 fundamental reasons why videos sit at 0 views. Number 1, the video is under review. Number 2, it's of poor quality. Number 3, it's duplicated content. Number 4, it's being posted on a banned device. Number 5, it's repurposed or copyrighted content. Or number 6, it's using restricted keywords. I know it's kind of a long list there, but let's spend some time breaking down each one of these individually so that we can understand them. Starting with number 1, your videos are under review. So this is actually a system TikTok implemented a few months back, late 2020. And you can think of it as a system, a safety measure that TikTok implements to screen the videos that new users post or those that continuously have a habit of violating the community guidelines on TikTok more than once. So if you just created a new account, you're starting with a blank slate as a new user and you post, it's not expected that videos would immediately take off. If this happens to you, don't worry about it. It's just TikTok's standard procedure. Again, this idea of a video review is where your video does sit at 0 views, anywhere between 6 to often 24 hours, while TikTok is just scraping it, it's analyzing it, making sure that it's appropriate content before it starts distributing it to the masses. Now, this review process, I'll be honest, is a bit arbitrary at times. The analogy that I like to give to describe this is it's kind of like a random tax audit. It happens at the worst of times, and there's very little rhyme or reason why certain profiles are selected to be subject to the video review and others aren't. But I guess you can take assurance in the fact that it's not a bad thing whatsoever. And from my research and my experience, I haven't noticed any correlation to you receiving reviews on videos, them getting stuck at 0 views, and that impacting your account in any negative way. Now, on top of that, let's just say hypothetically, and honestly, this is a situation a lot of creators find themselves in, is when you get videos actually taken down, multiple videos in a row or multiple videos within the past week got community violations for whatever reason, justified or unjustified, and now every single video that you post is subject to this review period. It gets 0 views. Is your account ruined if this happens? A lot of people will slap the label of a shadow ban on this situation. In reality, no, your account's not ruined whatsoever. Again, taking it back to the fundamental reason why this review is implemented in recent months, you have done something that's against TikTok's guidelines, and now it's just being a little bit more scrupulous with you as a creator, just checking to see if what you're continuing to output has any similarities to those videos that got removed. You can think of this as kind of like getting a speeding ticket. If you accidentally drive above the speed limit and you get pulled over, you explain your situation, maybe you get a small ticket, or if you're lucky, you get a free pass from the officer and a verbal warning not to do it again. But if you continuously drive above the speed limit and break the law, when you get caught in the future, you're not going to get that benefit of the doubt anymore. Now, for these video reviews, like we talked about, most of them are done with review and they break through within 6 to 24 hours. A lot of these reviews are manually done, meaning there is a human on the other end giving approval for your content. So your video likely is in a queue of videos, and it does take time to work through them all. So please, I would encourage you, don't think about removing or deleting your video if it's stuck at 0 views, unless it's taken down for community violation reasons, you've appealed a video and it was unsuccessful. I think that's the only justification for deleting content. And I can tell you just from research that even several members in our Let's Talk TikTok Facebook community, linked down below if you want to join that, they've proven that leaving a video on your profile that has 0 views often results within 24 hours that video receiving traction at a later point. So don't think about removing the video, just give it some time and it should take off soon. The second reason why content is often stagnant at 0 views is because it is of poor quality. Now, we've talked about this previously on this channel, how your story, your message, your personality, your values often do transcend the quality of your content and what particular device that you choose to film with, mobile, DSLR, mirrorless camera, and that's entirely true. But there's also something to be said about how your content looks, how your content is lighted, and how it appeals aesthetically to others. In fact, TikTok has been very clear about putting out different resources on their website talking about proper lighting techniques for photos and videos that are uploaded to the platform. Keep in mind that similar to a video review that we talked about, when you post a video, TikTok's AI is analyzing, scraping the visual, the audio of your content, looking for anything potentially objectionable. If the video is very, very dimly lit, it's blurry, it's fuzzy, the lens is cloudy, and you're not able to determine a clear subject, there's motion everywhere, TikTok, you'll notice in those cases, just chooses not to distribute that video to viewers in general, and it often is stuck at 0 views. By the way, if you want to learn about proper lighting techniques for TikTok in particular and really maximize the visuals of your content, you can take a look at some of our tutorials in our TikTok Creator Pro content library, or you can take a look at TikTok's creator tutorials in its creator portal, both of which will be linked down below. Now, in general, and I do want to stress, don't feel the need or pressured into upgrading your equipment in some way. If you have the budget for that, that's fantastic. I think people will notice that at the end of the day. But everyone, including myself, regardless of what equipment you use, can level up our environment, enhance it in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just by 1% of what we did previously. Just be conscious of how well lit and formatted your videos are. The third reason why content is often stagnant at 0 views is because the content, the video that you post, is duplicated across multiple profiles. We've all observed as a TikTok community the transition the platform has been making to prioritizing more original content created natively for the TikTok platform. But there's also kind of an undisclosed catch for videos like that, and those videos can only be limited to one profile. You can't duplicate them across multiple accounts. Oftentimes, the same videos that are downloaded from one profile and then re-uploaded to another will be afforded very, very little traction or no traction whatsoever because it's clearly repurposed content. A lot of creators often do this when they want to discontinue a certain profile and then restart their efforts on another. Now, it's totally fine. I do want to clarify if you choose to repost content on the same profile. You download a video from January, you want to repurpose it in June or July, that's totally acceptable. TikTok gives you that feature for a reason, but TikTok has also been very clear that duplicating content is something that is frowned upon by the platform and not recommended across multiple profiles. Otherwise, if this really were allowed by the platform, you'd have creators out there taking advantage of this, uploading a video to a profile. If it didn't do well, they take that same video, take it to another account, keep recycling and repeating those same efforts until they got that video to do better than before. And the result of that would just be TikTok's users being spammed with a lot of the same content over and over again. The fourth reason why content is often stagnated at 0 views is because you're using a banned device to upload to TikTok. If you've watched any of the interviews that we've had here on this channel with different content analysts at TikTok, you'll know that one of the systems that they have in place is to issue what's known as a DID ban. And this is for those that have blatantly violated TikTok's community guidelines multiple times over with no intention of tuning or toning down their content themes, or for those that have had 2 accounts banned generally in close proximity to one another fairly recently. And just for clarity's sake, a DID ban is where your device is permanently limited and filtered from ever uploading content on TikTok, and no number of new accounts will fix this. Now, I do want to stress, if it's any assurance to you, it's very, very rare for something like this to happen. In fact, throughout the hundreds of conversations that I've had with some of you watching this over individual consultation calls, or even the thousands of DMs that I've read through over the past year, I've only ever come across 3 devices permanently banned, and those are the ones that produce 0 views when they create a new account on those devices. The fifth reason why content often doesn't advance beyond 0 views is because your content is repurposed, copyrighted content. Now, this point applies primarily to those with meme channels or any sort of compilation-based account on TikTok where you're re-uploading, you're repurposing content that you might source elsewhere on the internet, like from YouTube, for example. And this is something that TikTok as a platform really, especially in 2021, has become much more adamant and scrupulous towards, is limiting what you're actually able to repurpose. It's not the same standards as Instagram, unfortunately. You see many, many channels scaling to millions and millions of followers, but it's not the same on TikTok. There's a few that slip through the cracks, but it's a very difficult process in general. If you run an NBA sports themed profile where you upload basketball highlights or you upload motivational speeches that you find on YouTube, it's very, very likely that if your video is at 0 views, TikTok is picking up, connecting the dots between your video on TikTok and you not owning that content from YouTube, and thus it's not affording your video any significant exposure unless your channel is verified, and obviously there's that common denominator between the same company repurposing on both platforms. You know, I've had the privilege of working with many musicians over this past year or so, and there's been some hilarious examples of certain musicians. I'm not going to name names, but there's been those select examples where they will have a YouTube Vivo music video that they decide to splice up and repurpose a 30-second segment of that on TikTok, only to have the video sit at 0 views and then get taken down 2 days later for copyright reasons when it was their own original video featuring them to begin with. So yeah, it often can be a little bit frustrating on TikTok with this whole repurpose structure and procedure that the platform has in place. And that's why it's always recommended, just as a general rule of thumb, never to just straight rip off content from another social media platform. I would recommend that you re-edit it. You add a voiceover, another layer of information. Maybe you add some text or graphics overlays to the video to try to mask it in some way. And of course, by all means, make sure you give credit to the original creator. I used to have a few compilation accounts that I ran on TikTok for a while, and I still have a few of these passively that I just upload to in the background. But I'll tell you that it really is a trial and error process of you figuring out what works best, what's approved on the platform for certain niches, and you trying to maintain the standards of what you're familiar with on Instagram, because TikTok is, at least for the time being, unfortunately, much more of a stricter process. Reason number 6 for a video sitting at 0 views are restricted keywords. Now, on TikTok, I'm sure that we can all agree that objectively there are certain topics that should not be promoted by the platform. Things like suicide, bullying, doxing individuals, etc. And a lot of these, if used in the video captions, the video hashtags, the video text bubbles, or even audio spoken in the video, will be picked up by the platform and will not be distributed, and those videos will sit at 0 views. Now, it's great that TikTok is certainly taking steps to improve the safety and security of its community at large, but there are other topics that TikTok often does restrict and limit that are a little bit more controversial in nature. I will note that a lot of these restricted phrases and keywords often come about because one video simply blows up out of nowhere, sparks a lot of controversy, makes headlines in a negative way, and then TikTok wants to put a stop to all that hate coming onto the platform. You can actually read more about this process in TikTok's transparency report that they just released a couple of weeks ago. But I find it best, as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to use a hashtag that you think might be remotely controversial, just to search it up on TikTok's discovery page and make sure that there are successful videos actively reaching new viewers with that particular tag. Okay, so we covered the 6 reasons why content is often stagnant at 0 views. What can you do now? What are the action steps? Well, depending on which of these 6 you think your account falls into, obviously you know your situation far better than I do, there are 2 things that I would recommend. Number 1, don't delete the video. You know, from my own research and experiences and the tests that myself and other creators have conducted independently on our own solo ventures, there really isn't much of a notable account impact if you receive a video with 0 views. It only becomes a real problem if that video is removed for some sort of community violation. And if that happens, of course, do your best to appeal the video. If it's not reinstated, then it's just best deleted. Secondly, and you're gonna laugh at the simplicity of this idea, but most, and I mean most, videos stuck at 0 views are not gonna stay that way for longer than 12 hours. I can't tell you all the different conversations or DMs that I receive where creators out of panic are freaking out that their first video got 0 views and they've been on TikTok for a year and they think that's gonna stifle growth. When in reality, they go to bed, they wake up the next morning, and the video is at the normal threshold of what they would traditionally receive on a video just like that. And again, just for clarity's sake, most videos, 80 to 90% that I see stuck at 0 views, are just subject to TikTok's review system, and that subsides within 24 hours anyway, so it's just a wait game. I know this has been kind of a long-winded answer to such a simple question, but I wanted to make sure that we were thorough in our analysis here. So if you enjoyed this information, leave a like down below this video and consider joining our TikTok Creator Pro community if you really want to take your TikTok influence to the next level and start turning a profit on maybe the milestones that you've passed already. We have bi-monthly live calls, we have an exclusive access for creators to live features that TikTok updates, weekly trend resources that come out that you can take advantage of. So you can take a look at all of that via the link below this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me that you're watching to this point, and we'll catch you next video. Take care. Cheers.